What's going on YouTube? Welcome to my channel Money Moves with Kay. I am Kay, and today we're going to discuss a secret trick that you can use to find distressed properties online for free, okay? And I'm gonna get right into the video and kind of break down what it is I want to talk about because I have a lot of gems. Make sure you stay towards the end of the video because you can't truly get the gems and the information. You can't squeeze all the information and use if you don't get to the end of the video. So let's start. So this is a secret trick that most investors, by the way, don't want you to know, and that is using 311 as a source for you to find distressed properties. Now, what is 311? 311 is a platform for regular citizens like you and I to report things, right? Such as abandoned vehicles, graffiti, and also code violations, which I'll get to in just a second, okay? So you can report things in your neighborhood that you may see and not clog up the 911 line. It's non-emergency. It's a non-emergency line so that you can still be a part of the community and report some things, but not necessarily call the police to come out and help with that particular situation. So we're going to use 311 to find distressed properties. Here we go. So let's break it down. What I've done is I've randomly picked 3 cities and states and I put it into Google. So I'm going to start with Greensboro, North Carolina. So shout out to Greensboro. Shout out to Greensboro. I'm aware of Greensboro. I used to visit Greensboro a lot of times. My cousins, family members live in that area. So yes, I'm very well aware of Greensboro, North Carolina. So let's check it out. Greensboro, North Carolina. So I said Greensboro 311 service request. That's what you need to put into Google. So you put your city 311 service request, okay? And what I did here, now every website that you go to, depending on the city, will be different. So, but this information is there. So please, in the comment section, if you're saying, I didn't find it, I need you to read a little bit more in depth to make sure that you read, because this involves a lot of reading as far as it's not so plainly laid out for you. And each and every website is a little different too. So you may have to dig just a little bit deeper in order to find that information, because I did that, right? I had to dig deeper. It doesn't clearly specify, not on every website, where this information is. So make sure you just dig a little deeper and don't give up so quickly. That's the gem. Not giving up so quickly. That's where you find the gems, okay? All right, so here we go. So on this website, as you can see, there's no plain, here's a distressed properties list, right? There's nowhere where it's going to say that. So I had to kind of infer a little bit where this information is and really dig deeper. So over here on the left-hand side, I clicked code compliance, personal property. All right. So code compliance. All right. Again, there's no tab that you can click that says distressed properties list. Easy. Most of this stuff is not easy. That's why a lot of investors or a lot of people quit, right? Which is what I was talking about earlier. But you're not going to do that. You're going to continue to find this information, even if you have to email someone, hey, can I get this particular list? Because that's an avenue as well. All right. Do not give up quickly on this process, because the gems are where you dig a little deeper and you resist friction, which means that you're not so, easy to give up, right? All right, here we go. So status of code cases. Click this for Greensboro, North Carolina, of course. And what it's going to do is populate data from Greensboro, North Carolina that places it here. And all of these are some housing issues. They may not all be the same. Some of them are inspection issues. Some of them are high grass and weeds in the grass. Some of them are different various issues, which we classify as code violations, okay? I mentioned this a little bit in my last video, and I had folks in the comment section say, well, I know where to find them. What do I do next? That lets me know that you may be a new investor, which is fine. This video in particular, and all of my videos, run step-by-step how to do these things and what you use them for. So I'll break it down right now. What you use code violations for is a couple of things. If you're an experienced investor, this is like gold for you. All right, here we go. So code violation is when the city goes around and they say, hey, your grass is too high. You have too many vehicles in your lawn, your grass, or whatever the case may be. And they will give you a citation, all right? Or they'll give you an amount of time to fix that problem, okay? Because you don't want your neighborhood to look blight, or not blight, but you don't want it to look, you want the pride of ownership in the neighborhood to look good, period, all right? So when you find a code violation, my antennas go up as an investor. I say, I'm going to contact the owner. Now you might say, Kay, out of all these people in the United States of America, how am I going to contact them, right? I will put in the description a link to one of my videos where I discuss how to contact the owner, all right? It's not going to be easy. By the way, none of this stuff is easy. So if you're looking for an easy button, this is not it. Real estate is not it. Real estate is very, very complex, okay? But only the strong survive. All right, here we go. So code violation list allows you to say, this is a problem with this particular home. It could be boarded up. It could, I've seen houses on this list that have actual squatters in the home, people coming out the home, and somebody reported and say, hey, there's not supposed to be anybody in this home. It's boarded up. I'm reporting this, right? So those are telltale signs for me as an investor to say, let me look more into this and try to contact the owner and see if I can solve their problem. What is their problem? They have a home that they're not taking care of, right? They have a home that they're not mowing the lawn. My antennas go up and say, why are they not cutting the grass at this property? Are they absentee owners? What is an absentee owner? An absentee owner is somebody who lives in another city or state, or county, and they no longer live at their property. Maybe they own the property, but they moved to California, for an example, and the property's in North Carolina, and they don't know what to do with the property. Maybe they own it free and clear. They own this property, potentially. And they say, well, I just don't want to go back to the property. As a result, property goes abandoned, and boom, it ends up on this list as a code violation. So there's a plethora of information I could give right now in this video. That's not what this video is about. If you want more information on how, who, what, when, where, what, how, go back to my past videos. This is what this channel is about. Learning, being a lifetime learner, and really trying to figure out this thing so that you can find distressed properties off market and for a good deal. Because I've gotten properties as low as $800. Yep, I did. Why? Because I did the work. Right? And it's difficult, but it's possible. So I wanted to kind of outline some of the things that most investors will not show you because they don't even know about this process. But that's cool. That's why you're here. All right, so let me see. Okay, so this is Greensboro, North Carolina. I won't continue to go down or click on anything because I'll have to blur it out. Just that's just what I do. And let me go to a different city. So I did the same exact thing for Cincinnati, Ohio. Okay. So Cincinnati, Ohio, and by the way, all these platforms look different, right? This looks very different than the Greensboro, North Carolina platform. Okay. But I went to various random places in the United States, right, to show you that this can be done in various places, right? It's not just for North Carolina. It's not just for South Carolina. It can be done everywhere. So 311 exists everywhere, okay? Keep that in mind. So I'm not going to click on this because it'll pull up the address again, but I did click on some of these, and a lot of the complaints were the grass is too high. Because we're coming out of summer, that's the perfect time for you to see a lot of homeowners that have a lot of high grass, and that's one of my telltale signs. Matter of fact, I have an idea for that. All right, I'll save that for later. So these are the dots. You click on the dot and it'll give you property location, meaning the address, and much more information. I also looked at Buffalo, New York. All right. This could be done anywhere. So Buffalo, New York, same premise. It says 311 up here, right? This is 311. So I'll blur a lot of this out because it does have an address, but it says high grass and weeds, right? So what I did was I looked this property up. And you can see the property here. By the way, not all of the properties that you may find or the websites that you find under 311 service requests will have a lot of properties. They may have just two. That may just be a well-functioning city, right? So keep that in mind. So you may not find as many as you found in Greensboro, North Carolina, but you will find some. Here is a property. And when I looked at this neighborhood, I'm like, wow, this neighborhood has a lot of pride of ownership, right? A lot of folks keep their grass tidy. These look like newer properties. It appears to be an older home. And this is the subject property that we're talking about right here. So with this, the complaint was high grass. Now, there could be various things going on. Like I said, maybe the home or the property owners were out of town. A whole lot of things can happen as to why they have high grass, but I would mark that. And more importantly, ooh-wee, here we go. Here's the real gem. What I would do with this property, this is another way you can use code violations to benefit you as an investor. What I would do is I would find out if this property owner owes taxes. Boom. If they owe taxes 2 or more years, it just depends on the city. But if they owe taxes, that's another sign to me that they need help. They may need help with me coming in and swooping in and helping them pay the taxes. But more importantly, they may not want the home anymore. It's not about me paying the taxes. It's about they're delinquent in their taxes, which is a red flag for me to say something's going on, okay? And it's for me to find out what it is. So I will contact the owner and go from there. Plus, you want to try to find properties such as this or other properties that could be, now I don't know if this one is delinquent in taxes. I didn't look this one up as far as the taxes. However, in the event that a home is delinquent in taxes, you want to contact the owner before the tax auction. Why? Why is that important? You want to contact the homeowner before tax auction so it doesn't go to the tax auction, right? Because if they're delinquent in taxes enough years, depending on the city or county or state, really the city, if they're delinquent in taxes for numerous years, eventually the end goal to that would be that it's going to tax auction, which the homeowner doesn't want, right? Or maybe they don't care. And that's for you to contact them and see and kind of get a feel or a vibe of what's going on. But if I can get this property before it goes to tax auction, that's perfect because it's off market. I will get a good deal because I'm coming in and swooping in and saying, boom, you know, I want this property, especially if it's free and clear, meaning there's no mortgage. However, even if there is a mortgage, it can still go to a tax auction because a tax auction precedes a mortgage in certain situations. And I described that very thoroughly in my tax auction course. Make sure you check it out in the description. All right. I feel like I'm babbling right now, so I'm going to stop. This is good information, but I think you get the drift of what I was trying to say, which is use 311 as a resource for you to find distressed properties. And from there, you can go many different avenues to try to find out what's going on with the property and really get a good off-market real estate deal. All right. Thank you so much for making it this far in the video. I truly do appreciate it. And if you made it this far in the video, do me a favor. In the comment section, write real estate. It allows me to know you made it this far in the video, and I truly do appreciate it. Hopefully you got some gems and some good information to use yourself. All right. Thank you so much for watching. You guys have a blessed day. Peace.